respected, distinguished dignitaries, Shri Arun Kumar Singh ji, Chairman and CEO ONGC, Shri Anil Kumar Jain ji, Chairman PNG, and Shri Sudhir Pal Singh, Editor ET Energy Economic Times. First of all, I must express my deep gratitude to the organizers of the Economic Times, especially Sudhir Pal Singh ji, for inviting me to be part of this august gathering. To speak after the brilliant insights given by Shri Arun Kumar Singh ji is really a difficult task. And today we have very well experienced people gathered here from the oil and gas industry. And let me say a very good morning to you all and my heartiest regards to you all. What I'm going to do here is not going to give a sort of lecture or something. There are certain understanding which I have developed as an economist working in the government regarding the oil and gas sector globally, and then I'll come towards the India. There are certain very crucial, I would say, churning taking place at the global level. And what I'm going to give you certain ideas which probably you may know or you may not know, but the way I look at the oil and gas industry and where the opportunities are going to be found for the private entrepreneurs, and what are the challenges which we as a policymakers or as economists or as the entrepreneurs we are facing and going to face. I think more than ever before, for any country of the world, one of the most important goals is ensuring the long-term energy security. As you must be knowing, about 80% of the total energy supply globally comprises of fossil fuels. And oil comprises nearly 30%, followed by coal 27% and natural gas 24%. And that is why the oil and gas are phenomenally important sectors for sustainable economic growth and development. I totally agree, and I also make it a point that wherever I get a chance to speak, as far as India is concerned, fossil fuels are going to stay. There is no doubt about that. And I totally agree with Chairman Sir. And there are certain important studies done by different organizations at the world level, which their findings, which I will share with you shortly. Having said this, the global sector is facing two major challenges today. The first challenge is extreme supply volatility and supply insecurity emanating from different armed conflicts in the different parts of the world and pandemics like COVID. So these things create uncertainty in the supply side. And the second challenge is meeting the net zero emission target in the wake of global climate change, which means there is ever mounting pressure on countries to make transition to carbon neutral, environmental friendly, and decarbonizing technologies. As a result of these challenges, geopolitical undercurrents and tensions, there has been marked churning in the global trade equations. And some economists call this as a kind of deglobalization. But in my view, this is not deglobalization. It is a kind of, in my view, revitalization of global trade in the wake of new evolving technologies and energy security concerns. In this context, the important thing to which developing countries like India and Indian entrepreneurs should pay close attention is the drastic changes which are happening and which are more likely to be or expected to happen in the global value chain system and in the trade in intermediate goods. I think that's the most important churning that is taking place at the moment. Some people call it the shift in the globalization, but again, I would call it a revitalization of global trade in the um, in the face of new challenges. In this context, which I have already, energy security and energy supply chain resilience will be the key for future GVC global value chain system designs. And energy security is the cornerstone of stable national development and unforeseen situations such as wars, extreme weather, and large scale pandemics, which can severely affect the global trade. Therefore, ensuring the long term security and reliability of energy supply chains is an issue that should be the main concern of developing countries, as has already been pointed out, and certain insights have been shared by Shri Kumar Singh ji. And there is a very well detailed report brought out this year by the World Trade Organization, especially on global value chain system. And I would recommend if you can spare some time and for more details, there are a lot of valuable insights which you'll get from this report. In the wake of these challenges, the countries across the world are repositioning themselves for the secure supply of oil and gas. And one of the best examples to see how the major economies and countries of the world are positioning themselves for ensuring long-term security and to fit into global value chain dynamics is setting up of Quad mechanism. And the energy meeting and the meeting of energy ministers that took place in Australia. And I must highlight some of the very important decisions taken in this meeting, which are very important to guide our industry and the global industry as a whole. In this meeting, Japan, US, Australia, and India reached a consensus on collaborating to develop the next generation of energy sources like hydrogen and ammonia to promote future energy security. In addition, countries agreed on the widespread adoption of technologies such as energy storage batteries that contribute to energy supply, establishing a stable diamond energy cooperation model. Just have a look at this. So this is what they call the Diamond Energy Cooperation Model and strengthening energy cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region. Furthermore, there are two more critical points which need our very close attention. And one of is this, which is shown by this slide. The point is that according to IEA study 2023, growth in world oil demand, I'm saying growth, I'm not saying the absolute demand. The growth in the world Oil demand is set to lose momentum during this period by 2028. And this is the forecast done by the IEA this year. But the point is that as India and China are going to be fossil fuel dependent, in my view, if I can say at least next 20 to 30 years, the fossil fuel in India is going to stay. And one of the more very important finding of IEA is that more than US dollar 2 trillion will be mobilized for clean energy investments by 2030, which provides a tremendous opportunity for the entrepreneurs to plan their businesses. The point too is that, yes, the world automobile market is going to transform sooner than what I thought earlier. That will take maybe 15 to 20 years. But the study of IEA 2023 shows that traditional car manufacturers, which are listed in this slide, you can see yourselves, are replacing the vehicles powered by internal combustion engines with electric vehicles. For example, I'll draw your attention to PSA Group, which will produce 100% of its vehicles to be electric by 2025. I think this is a very important finding of this report. Now coming towards the challenges which are being faced by India or Indian economy, the most important factor, as I said, is the transition towards decarbonizing or transition towards environmental friendly or carbon neutral technologies, adoption of these technologies. And everyone knows that historically, this is the overall, historically, and even today, the developed countries like US, UK, and others have been the major GHG emitters, leading to rise in average global temperature and climate change problems. This is a well-established fact. But however, even today, as far as India is concerned, the per capita CO2 emissions of India is one of the lowest in the major economies of the world, which is amply depicted in this slide. The purpose of showing these slides is to give you an idea that where we are standing, where the world is standing. This transition to greener and cleaner energy options and moving towards renewable energy technologies is a huge responsibility, intricately complex and massively costly proposition for developing countries like India. However, India at the 26th session of United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change in November 2021 announced its targets to achieve net zero by 2070. India is set to achieve its short-term and long-term targets under the Panch Amrit action plans, like reaching on non-fossil fuel energy capacity of 500 gigawatt by 2030, and fulfilling at least half of its energy requirements via renewable energy by 2030, and reducing CO2 emissions by 1 billion tons by 2030, and reducing carbon intensity by below 45% by 2030, and finally pave the way for achieving the net zero emission target by 2070. However, this will require a fundamental shift in our approach towards energy production, distribution, and consumption. So we must embrace renewable energy sources such as solar, wind and hydroelectric power, while simultaneously phasing out fossil fuels. But as I said, phasing out future fossil fuels is a far cry for Indian economy as of now. And I'll qualify and substantiate why is it so. India needs to invest about $100 billion per year or more to achieve the target of net zero emissions by 2070. So that's why I said this is a hugely costly affair. This transition process is. Uh, but the most important part when I see as an economist that India today is one of the fastest growing economy in the world. And we have 1.43 billion souls inhabiting our country. So at this point of time, this goes without saying that when such a large economy, which is the fifth largest economy in the world today, India is, and with such a large population, it is essential and it is bound to happen that fossil fuels are are going to stay here for next 20 to 30 years. There is no doubt in my view. But at the same time, we cannot compromise on the fact that we have certain commitments given in COP at the world level, and which are being addressed to by the Indian policymakers very well. I must say that Indian government have taken these challenges upfront and have navigated the Indian economy through formidable energy crisis, which we saw in last 3 to 4 years, by adopting four-pronged strategies that includes diversification of energy supplies, increasing India's exploration and production footprint, alternate energy sources, and meeting energy transition through gas and gas-based economy, and moving towards higher green hydrogen. I would also like to highlight some of the initiatives taken by the government, but usually when I see Indian economy and the scale of Indian economy, one thing quite often strikes me that being a country of 143 billion, 1.43 billion people, even if even if even if a big task is done, it looks very small. I'll share you a small example with you. In last 7 years, starting from I think January 2016 until March 2023, about 9.63 crore people, economically weaker section people, have been given the free LPG connections. Now, when we see at the figure of 9.63%, it looks very small when we compare with the entire population of India, which is 143 crore. But if we put this into a scale, I'll show you a map. This is this 9.63 or 9.73 is 1.17 times of the total population of Germany and 8.34 times the total population of Belgium. These are such a big number. And if you look at further, in 2014, the total number of LPG customers were around 14.52 crore, which have increased to 31 crore today. So this was just a small example where the government has taken a number of steps, which I am not going to looking at the timetable. So I'm not going to enumerate those exhaustively. And this is, I just wanted to give you an idea that a lot of work is being done, but since the size of Indian economy and population is such a huge that even a big task looks small. But when you put it in comparison to the other states, then you will find the what amount of work has been done. I would like to stop here and extend my heartiest thanks to Economic Times once again for giving this opportunity to me to speak with you people. And I have also come to learn from you after this when question answers come. And Honorable Anil Kumar Jain sir would speak after this. And thank you so much. And heartiest regards to everyone. Thank you very much.